In this video, we're going to pick up with where we left off, which was finding, using Google Sheets to find the mean, median, mode, and standard deviation for the length of a sample of 10 lizards. So the next question 3 is asking us to do the similar thing, but instead of doing these calculations with centimeters, let's find out what the standard deviation, and might as well do the mean, median, and mode, would be if instead we measured the lengths with inches. So in the process of doing this, we'll see a couple of things in Google Sheets. One is how we can copy and paste information from one cell into another. And secondly, we'll see what happens with the cell references when we copy and paste a formula that involves cell references. So what we want to do is convert each of these 10 measurements from centimeters into inches, and then we'll calculate the mean, median, mode, standard deviation of the corresponding 10 lengths in inches. So let's get Excel to do this work for us. So what I would do to convert from centimeters into inches, if 1 centimeter is 0.4 inches, that means I would take the corresponding length in centimeters, multiply it by 0.4 to get the corresponding conversion to the length in inches. So in cell B2, if I want to figure out what is 5.3 centimeters, how many inches is 5.3 centimeters, I can say equals 5.3 times 0.4, and that tells me that 5.3 centimeters is 2.12 inches. And then I could repeat in each of the corresponding rows below. If I had a really large data set, that would take me a long time to retype this formula every single time. So let's think about a nicer way that we can enter this formula. So I'm going to delete backspace, clear out the contents in B2. So now I'm going to enter a formula. So I'm going to say equal. So in this cell, I want to see what happens when instead of entering the number 5.3, I'm going to enter the cell location where that is located, which is in cell A2. So I'm going to say equals A2 times 0.4. So instead of actually typing in the static number 5.3, I'm going to get the same calculation in the end. I'm just saying take the number in cell A2 times 0.4. When I hit return, that gives me the 2.12 inches. Okay, and so now the advantage to doing this is if I were to copy and paste this formula in B2 down to cell B3, let's see what happens. And so we can copy and paste in Google Sheets similar to most other applications. So there are lots of different ways to do this. If you like using keyboard shortcuts, then depending on what operating system you have, you could do Control C if you have PC, or Command C if you have a Mac. That copies the contents in B2. And then I come down to cell B3 and do Control V if you have a PC, Command V if you have a Mac, and that pastes the formula. And see, I don't get the same value back, which is good because I have a different length for the second number. So if I double click on this cell, we can see that what happened was in cell B2, we had the formula equals A2 times 0.04. And when I copied that formula and pasted it down one cell, it took the cell reference A2 and shifted it down one row to cell A3, which is exactly what we want to do. So down here in green, I just have this note that says when we copy and paste formulas, any cell references that we have in the formula are going to get shifted relative to how many cells left, right, up, down. We paste the formula relative to where we copied it from. So basically what this formula is saying when I copy and paste it is take the cell immediately to the left of where I have entered this formula and multiply it by 0.4 to tell me what that corresponding value is in inches. Another very nice way to copy and paste things, especially lots of values, is what's called the click and drag method. So if I line my cursor, the pointer, up into the lower right corner of cell B3, you can see that the pointer turns into like a little black plus symbol. It goes from pointer to a black plus sign. And when I see that the pointer has changed, if I hold the click down and drag, I can see an outline around the cells that I'm dragging to, and I'm going to release when I get to cell B11. And what that has done is it copied the formula from B3 and pasted it to all of the cells in the range that I had highlighted. So this does all of the conversions of the lengths from centimeters into inches. And so now when I want to calculate the mean, median, mode, and standard deviation, I can do that the same way that we did it when we worked with centimeters. So the mean is equal, so I'm gonna, let me just keep track. Over here is the calculations in centimeters, and in column E, I'm gonna do the calculations in inches. So the mean, we start with equals because we're entering a formula, and we would enter average, that's the formula for the mean, left parenthesis, and then we can click and highlight cells B2 to B11, right parenthesis, and hit return. We can see that the corresponding mean length in inches is 2.668 inches. But if another nice way that we could do these other ones is notice here that this is a formula where we've entered the contents. We found the median of the contents in cells A2 to A11. So if I take this formula, copy it, and paste it one column to the right, that's going to take the cell reference that was in column A and shift it one column to the right, and instead calculate the median of the values in the cell range from B2 to B11. So if I copy and paste, so I just did this with keyboard shortcuts, copied D3, pasted it into E3. If we check to see what the result is, this calculated the median in cells B2 to B11. And again, because we pasted one column to the right, this took the cell references that were in the original formula and shifted them one column to the right. So from column A to column B. So we don't actually have to enter anything. And I can do that for the mode and the standard deviation. So I'm going to highlight cells D4 and D5 together and do a copy. So Command C, since I have a Mac, or you could use the keyboard shortcut Control C, and then come over to cell E4 and E5 and paste. And now I've calculated both the mode and the standard deviation using the units of inches.